today too.
You're good.
Hello. Welcome to From Duendelvin. We have a special setup here today, and we're going to be talking about not just the world of Savarion, but the board game around the world of Savarion.
Heck yeah.
Here we have Jeff and Kyle.
I'm Kyle.
And we're back.
All right.
You gotta listen today because we don't have a screen telling us what's going on.
No, we do not.
So,
Kyle, get back here.
hey Ian, real quick. I know we've done this a couple of times, but I want to just reiterate it. Will you play the commercial?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
We're back!
We're back.
Like dinosaurs. Ooh, like outer space. I love that movie.
Yeah, we need to not do that.
Anyway,
No outer space today.
Lots of outer space today.
Okay. Go ahead.
Is there... Wow.
There's a lot here.
There's a lot here.
There is a lot
Look at the
here.
spread.
Oh, this is so fabulous.
So Thursday, when we launch the video, we're going to use the same setup, but we're going to be talking about how to play the game. So stay tuned for that.
Definitely. And today, we're talking about how it went from something entirely different that wouldn't fit in this living room.
Oh my goodness.
The board was legitimately 4 times the size of what we have here.
Yeah.
What?
It was
Ian,
huge.
can you show the board?
Top view.
The top. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this right
Big
here.
Space view.
Do you have the space view, Ian?
Yeah.
Okay, so this right here, this is one section of the map. This is a standard size piece of paper. So you can tell, like, it's not a whole lot bigger than a standard size of paper. When we first did it, the board was so big it took up this whole table. Like, people had to have their character cards off to the side because there was so much board.
The hexes were like...
Smaller, too.
Yeah, they're just massive. The board was way too big.
So big.
It took...
Oh, boy.
Our first time through, it took, I think, 3 turns before people got into position to actually fight each other.
Yeah. It was crazy. Well, actually, that was the second version of the game.
yeah, yeah. God.
Okay, so the first version of the game was just this, like... I just drew, like, boxes. So the first edition of the game had squares instead of
Hexes.
X's. So I just drew lines with a ruler. And then we played it on this little laminated sheet of paper. And I took these little wooden blocks.
We don't have the tiny pegs.
I have some. Hang on.
Oh, we gotta show them off.
Okay. So they've been through a couple of different versions. Okay, so what I did originally... Ian, which view do we have?
Up close.
This one right here?
Yeah.
No, that one.
Over there?
The far one?
Yeah.
Okay, can you give me the other one?
Yeah. You see this guy right here? That was
Can we see this?
Yeah.
Halfling
Okay.
Warrior number 8.
So I painted them the right color, and we just used these little square blocks. And then I found these cabinet buttons. I started using the cabinet buttons
And that's
as our pieces. So
They're little guys.
and we still use them for the role-playing game to this day.
Until we can get miniatures more specific.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So
now we've evolved to these guys. We have the top view that hasn't been viewed,
We
right?
have a question.
We have a
Do
question?
we have a question?
From Sarah Davis. Kylie Short, how can he reach?
I had to stand and lean.
yeah, it was crazy.
It was hilarious because the table was also not this low. When we were playing, you couldn't sit down literally. The second iteration, you had to be standing to reach your stuff.
Yep. So now the final iteration, we have a top view, sky view.
Sky view.
So now we have these little pieces that'll sit on the board like that, and you get 10 pieces. This is our water mage. You get to choose from all of those. We'll go over the design on Thursday, so stay tuned. But our final piece, you plug them in like that, and then they can stand on the board.
And right now, these ones are a little bit bigger than the hexes that we have on the
Yes.
field, but that'll be fixed.
So this is what we're putting on Kickstarter right now. And if we beat our goal on Kickstarter, we're going to do the leader, so the star, right? So we have a number, and then one of them is a star. So we have 1 through 9 and a star. The star will actually be the leader figurine. So this one
We'll have the artwork.
won't look like a star.
Yeah,
It'll have Clat
You'll see Clat standing there.
actually standing there.
Yep.
That is.
if we meet our stretch goal.
That's a stretch goal, yep.
Stretch goal number 2 is these numbers will stop being this, and it'll be a 3D printed model of this.
It'll be like the
That'll
Crusher,
go on there.
the Guardian. We'll have the 3D
So-
printed variants.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
We'll leave them blank so you can paint them if you want them.
Ooh.
Because
So, yeah.
everyone likes painting little mini figures.
Yeah.
This is not mini. This is more mini than this. Anyway, all right.
It'll fit on this hex. It's a 1-inch hex.
So we also had at one point in time our part of the size change was we had a massive fortress in the center of the map,
Oh my.
and that was like if you sitting right here, this would all be pushed out further, and there's this big spot right in the middle. And if you were the dwarf, every time the dwarf beeline for the fortress because they got a big old bonus to their defense.
Well, everybody gets a bonus to their defense, but
Yep.
the dwarves get an extra one.
They were turtling up like champions.
So that was okay. So
Because we called that though. What do we call that fortress? It had a name, and then we like removed it from.
I don't know.
Because we
I can't
removed
remember.
it from everything that was canon.
It's not.
No longer a thing anymore.
It'll be. But so when
It
we
was
first.
Kungen.
It was not Kungen.
No, it was not Kungen. Okay, so I'll get to that. That was the first real rule change. So we went through the basic design of the game was these blocks, and then we had like a guy who could do melee damage at a high pace, and then a ranged guy who could do less damage. That's the 2 characters we started with. They didn't even have names. We just had the melee guy and the ranged guy. And so we kind of balanced it that way. And then we grew into like all the different pieces. It was like, okay, we need a guy who does less damage, but more all of this kind of stuff. And we got all 12 of the classes: the fire mage, the water mage, the hex mage, the bishop, the earth mage, the priest, ranger, spearman, swift striker, brawler, guardian, and crusher. We had all 12 of those ready to go. And I just felt like something was missing. And Kyle and I were on the phone. I was literally on my way to work, like I was walking to work. And Kyle goes, "What if one guy could push people?" And so there's the wind mage or the air mage. So
Nope.
um
That's
yeah.
that's where those came from. And then
It was
we had to work out something else very fast because we had 9 people sitting around the table
Well, that-
waiting their turn.
yeah.
That was the second major rule play.
No, the second one was moving from squares to hexes.
Hexes.
Because diagonal was hard.
Yep, diagonal was difficult with the squares, so instead we made straight lines less difficult and had and so we had your
Now it's
hex
kind of
line up.
right.
Now it's a little different because now you can be like, oh, I want to hit this guy over here, but I've got to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, but it works better.
It does. It
On the
plays
hex
way better on the hex.
So
It's a better choice.
yeah,
It's a good pivot. So there was hexes, and then the hexes were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we had to do some reworking because at one point in time it was like, oh, if my guy's standing here, I could only attack in a straight line out.
that didn't make sense.
And it hurt me. It hurt aggressively.
Right, because you could like offset your dude by 1 bar, and then it was like, I can't hit him now.
Can't touch him. And we would have guys who were literally dancing like back and forth like this. And if you were the halflings, you could do them dirty because you could be like, I'm going to hit you and step aside.
And step out.
What's up, bro?
Right. I loved my favorite thing to do, and I did this one time to someone with the air mage, just to like demonstrate how powerful the air mage
No one was playing them.
Nobody was playing. I was like, all right, I'm gonna play too. So I opened them separate, like way over here, right? And so we have water on the map, and if your unit goes into the water, they die.
Yep.
Okay. So I used my air mage to blow a dude across the map twice with the 2 different air mages, put him in the water.
Also,
And then people were like, I need an air mage.
off
Get
the
in
map
the water.
kills them as well.
Yes.
Get in the water, yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh.
There's no float. There's no float.
Little Master Chiefish.
Yeah, a little.
Oh, I'm dead.
Killed by the architect.
So
No boy.
okay, and then the rule change where the RTCSS.
Ah, yes. So the biggest challenge we had, you have 9 people sitting on a board, waiting their turn, and you have people activating 5 units every turn. It took forever. Yep.
Everybody's doing this.
Everybody, because there's no point paying attention, because as soon as it was your turn, you were going to assess the board anyways, and you'd be like, oh, okay, this is what he did. Oh, I'm being attacked, let me go ahead and roll my defense, and then that's it. That was the only interaction, and it was like, this sucks.
And it did. Because the first time through, I got... So, remember, Kyle was at distance, so I was testing the game with my army unit. Like, some of them were friends,
Yeah.
some of them were just wanting to play the game. But I'd invite them over. My wife would make this home-cooked meal, which everybody was like, a home-cooked meal? I would do it just for that.
Yep.
So they come over and we try this. But the first time I had the hex board that was ready to go, that could handle all 9 people, right? I printed it, laminated it. I used like the stuff you get at Hobby Lobby to laminate this board, and this board was literally like
It was one solid
it was
piece.
huge, right? So we all sit down to play this game. Everybody gets their units and everything, and we're all ready to go, right? The game takes about an hour to go from I don't know how to play it at all till we're ready to play.
Yep.
Like all the learning, all the setup, and everything. The first time through takes about an hour, and then it's about 15 minutes to set up if you already know how to play the game. Mm-hmm. It's a surprisingly steep learning curve or light learning curve.
It's
Like
not
once you know it, there's not a lot else.
It's easy to learn, hard to master.
Well,
But no, it's not even hard
like
to
it
master.
feels like there's a lot of rules, but once you have played it once, it's like okay, this all makes sense.
Yeah. Once you go through the play style, it's actually... So steep is not the right word, I don't think.
Anyway.
It's
Yeah.
a learning curve,
It's
but
a
it's
learning
not
curve,
a
yeah.
huge one.
I don't know how curves work, okay?
I don't know. Okay, so once you've played through it once, you got it.
It's a bit of cute on that triangle layout.
Yes.
Well played.
So anyway, so we sit down like in the morning. It was before lunch, right? My wife made 2 meals for them. We sit down, we play, and the game literally went into like pushing midnight.
Yep.
We literally played for 15 hours and didn't get a finality. Like there were still people on the board ready to play, and everybody was like, "It's fun, but it's just taking too long." So everybody left.
I'll be right back. Keep going.
Okay.
Alright.
So we had to figure out a way that we could still have 9 players because that was, I mean, you gotta have all 9 available at least. But how do you have all 9 people playing and all having a good time at the same time?
Pause right there. Taylor, how would you solve that problem? What's your idea?
Oh, that is an interesting question. I would say to keep stuff for people to do while waiting.
So your idea is add another mechanic to the game to keep people engaged while the main game is happening?
Not necessarily, but for like, pretty much, yeah. Actually.
Okay. I was kind of curious. That would not have been a bad option. However, we found a different one.
I'd ask Ian, but he already knows.
Yeah, he already knows how to make this work.
How we solved this.
My daughter has not yet. Our Taylor, our hostess here, who's also my daughter, super awesome, has not played this game yet.
Right.
It makes me sad.
You need to play it.
Yes, we will get the opportunity to play it because it is here. We want to play it.
So we solved it, though.
We did solve it.
We called it the RTCSS. Based a little bit off of
an RTS. Which is a real-time strategy system, which is StarCraft, Warcraft,
Age of Empires.
Stormgate is another one that's out right now. But that was the idea, is we had that RTS style. People don't know what RTS is, that's why I was...
Yeah, no, that's
my bad.
Perfect. No, you're good, because I'm sure people don't. Some people don't. Well, I've talked to people who are like, I don't know what an RTS is. So basically what that did was it made it feel like the game was constant. It also changed the average time of the play from 12 to 15 hours down to 4 to 5.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how many people play, the amount of time it takes to play never changes.
Nope. It goes fast. Even when you have 3 people and you're starting in a special series of movements, it's still...
Well, okay, maybe 3's a little quicker.
3 you can get them to.
3's a little quicker.
Honestly, probably get them in 45 minutes if we put 3
Yeah,
game.
3 is wild. So tune in on Thursday, because we're going to be discussing how the RTCSS and how all the specific pieces work. Today we're just talking about where we came from, the changes, the Kickstarter, all that kind of stuff. But Thursday we will have detailed information on how to play the game.
And then after that, we're going to be releasing footage of actual gameplay. People coming to the table, sitting down and playing the game.
Are we going to do that live on Wednesday?
I don't know if we want to do live.
Okay,
we'll discuss that after the fact. I mean, it could be fun. Honestly, if you guys want to see it live, then let us know in the comments. Because
for sure.
That would be huge.
If we get
enough people,
who are like, yeah, let's do it, then
we'll do it live.
But we'll have 9 people here playing the game. So, left.
Wow.
Okay, we might go a little bit over this one. But
do you have any questions for us so far this day?
Well, my tongue is off today.
We'll put it back on.
Either way, is there anything like? How did you guys differentiate between everything, or not differentiate, but like, what was the general? Dang it! Hold on, brain scattered. Reel it back in. Like, how did you guys handle picking stuff and the differentiations between stuff? And like, how was that developed race-wise?
Oh, the different races?
The different races.
Yes.
How we differentiate. So, Jeff was doodling. Jeff doodled symbols.
Are you talking about the symbols?
Sure. We can talk about that.
That's one of the differentiation capabilities, is they had the different symbols that were No.
It was Melissa.
That's Melissa doodling.
Melissa did all of these.
Okay. My bad. Melissa was doing the doodles.
I think except this one. I think I did this one. It's been 14 years.
So Jeff's wife doodled all these symbols.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we got the differentiation between the different races. And, okay, originally they were just different races with different powers. They didn't really have a story because it was supposed to be an RPG. We were going to do a massive multiplayer game for this. And so that was some of the 9 playable races that you can engage with. And the symbols just came with different colors. Yeah, that was it. Like, she just drew them in different colors, right? And that was the differentiation between the races.
There's no specific reason why one was chosen over the other. We just liked it.
Yeah.
You know?
And then they actually got their story came later.
Mm-hmm.
We worked a lot to build that the meat, the flesh. Like, we had these beautiful bones, but like bones are spooky. We need to flush this out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out, did that answer the question that you asked, or are you looking for something different?
That was absolutely like a good answer. How did you develop like different race like abilities? Was that part of it?
Yeah. So all of it was like an increase in difficulty, right? Like it's very, very difficult, and for anybody who wants to create a board game, anything that has the complexity level that this has, I would highly advise to start real basic and then add features as you go. Because trying to take like 100 different items, right? Because we have 13 playable classes, we have 9 playable races, you have 10 points that each one gets into 4 different categories. You can put them into 5 points in each category. You can put them into, so there's 20 possible points that you could theoretically spend
And then you have
on a
3
unit,
different
but you
talents
only,
to put in as well for the
Right.
leaders.
and then we have 13 weather events that happen, and you
And-
can have 2 of each class type
Yep.
in your group. So the variety is
You can have over 1,000 different mixtures for just one piece.
Our math
Okay,
guy behind the
there
show
you go.
has 1,000
Yeah.
different mixtures for every single piece.
And so if we had jumped into this and said, I want all of this to happen, it would have been so overwhelming we probably would have never gotten to this place. So we just added a feature, added a feature, added a feature.
And so the
Right.
races came with their bonuses much later. Once we differentiated the races, we were like, okay, what makes them unique to play? And that's when we had to start adding on, okay, what if they did this? Because originally,
The Muskeperts were plus 2,
we're +2.
and it
so
was
when-
too much.
No, that was the Sungatu here.
The Sumgatsu was plus 2 die roll.
Yeah, they had a +2 to their die roll, and believe it or not, that +2 was ridiculous because when compounded with the enhancement, they got a +3, which means they never lost.
Never.
That somehow
Well, almost never.
almost never lost. Like you very rarely going
Yeah.
to see a drop. So we had to drop
But
it
just
down.
changing it to 1,
Made all the difference in the
made a
world.
huge difference.
Because the +2 is not nearly as detrimental.
Right. And so we just went through what would be cool, but also what could be fair. Because you don't want to start a game where you're already in a deficit.
No.
Because that's just messed up.
Well, so then we had the
So-
humans, because we wanted to think, messing with the terrain. Someone complained about at one point in time. They were like, "This is too much for me to figure out." So we're like, "Okay, so what if the humans don't have to worry about it?" And they were like, "Oh, okay. So for real, the humans don't have to worry about
Right.
terrain."
And then someone else was like, well, I don't like dealing with the events. So
And-
that's the goblins.
Yep.
So
And dwarves were like, "Turtle time."
turtle time.
So they got their armor bonus.
Thanks, Jacob.
Yep. They also are the reason that earthquake breaks cities.
Yes.
Thanks, Jacob.
True. Also, thanks, Jacob. Thanks, Jacob. You are the man. No, so I do want to talk about that real quick. Jacob, he joined us. So we did 16 months, I think,
I think it's
that
right.
we played this game.
I would get a report from you almost after every game, and we'd
Yeah,
have to rewrite the
But I
rules.
think we
and
did
then
it for 16 months
solid
straight.
months of just
Every
hard
single
charging.
month.
Yep.
And Jacob was at all but one of them. And he, so the first time he played, it frustrated me. And I almost didn't invite him back. Because he was
Breaking all the rules.
breaking all the rules. He found all the loopholes. But, I invited him back because he wanted to play and try it with the changed rules. And then he broke all the rules again. And then he broke the rules a third time. And I finally was like, wait, it makes sense that he's there. We need somebody like that. And so he just kept breaking the rules every time. And I would say, thanks to him, the rules are concise as they are. Because he would loophole everything.
Also taught us how to write rules.
Yep.
Holy crap.
So,
That is something you do not expect. I've played board games for many years, and then to actually have to write the rules for one.
it takes a lot.
Oh. So yeah.
And now I look at rules and I'm like, that could have been a little more clear. So,
I'm like, wait, can I do this with this? It's not specified. Time to break it.
so,
Abuse it.
so I want to talk about one more thing real quick.
Yeah. 'Cause I'm running
And
out of
then
time.
and then we're running out of time. So Savarion, early-ish on, not super early on, but early-ish on, we decided that it was an unforgiving game.
Yes.
So when you get your dice, Ian taught you Skyview.
Send us to space. That's what this is.
When you get your dice, you get a 20-sided die and a 12. Do what? Oh, okay, cool. You get a 20-sided die and a 12-sided die. Except for the Guardian, whose specific ability is to use a 20-sided die in defense and defend his people. Everybody uses a 12-sided die in defense and a 20-sided die in attack, which means...
We were benefiting the aggressor.
Exactly. And then we also introduced... So we'd have people who were like, I'm just going to wait until a lot of the carnage has been played out, and then I'll join in. And everybody was at a weakened state except the one person who was like, I'm not going to participate in battle. So your race bonus that you get for being an orc, and then your minotaur and your halfling, right? You get your bonus for being those races. The person who takes out the last character in a unit gets your racial bonus
To their army.
So if I was the orcs and I get +4 melee power, and then I take out the last minotaur, now all my guys have an additional 20 health.
And it happens
Right.
immediately. And it's not like it goes in and it's like, oh, I have a 20 higher HP. You gain 20 health immediately for all your
Right.
units.
And so it promotes aggression.
Strategically aggressive gameplay.
Yes. And so the people who play, like for instance, my little sister, when we were growing up, we would play Risk every year. And she was the kind of person who was like, I'm going to do as much as I possibly can, and scattered herself really, really thin. Now, she would be at a huge disadvantage every time we played because she had one dude everywhere.
Yep.
In our game, that playstyle would be awesome for her because she would take one dude out here, one dude out here, and she'd have 4 powers before anybody else had any, and then she'd be like
a bigger monster.
monster, right?
Yep.
So yeah, it's very much sweet.
Well,
So we
do want to talk real quick. We talked a little about the RTCSS and then we jumped away from it real fast. That was kind of my bad.
well, because we're
We're
gonna
gonna do an in-depth.
in-depth.
So but we found a way to group people up, and so we have multiple people acting. What that means is there's multiple players going and taking the turn at the board at once. So if Jeff is playing and I'm playing, and we're in 2 different groups, there's a high chance that I'm moving my pieces and activating in the same time he is. So it creates a reactive system. He'll see me advancing towards him and be able to be like, no. And you can react in real time to your opponent. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, but it also means you have to spend an activation to get away from it. So it's a kind
It's a give
of
and a take.
it's a give and take. So you have to be able to adapt on the fly, and that's what made it went from, oh, I'm gonna sit here on my phone, is it my turn yet, to, oh, I gotta pay attention because if he's moving over here, he's over there, I gotta make sure I go into my turn as fast as possible. And then you're sitting there and you're like, come on, bro, hurry up, I gotta take my turn, and you start chomping at the bit to get in there. That's what the RTCSS brought to the table, and it changed everyone's mentality on life.
Yeah. It made the game come alive.
It did. It brought that chaos, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And it may seem daunting at first, but once you get the hang of it, it plays so much smoother. And sometimes when I play board games, I have to wait my turn. It's not. It just.
Right.
I'm like, I could be playing my game instead.
Well, and, yeah, like, and not to say anything against
No.
other board games, because the reason we built this is because we love board games.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no negativity
Never.
towards any other board game. But when it's your turn, in a linear board game where Kyle goes, then Taylor goes, then I go, then Ian goes, and we go around in a circle. Ian's over there, but when we do that, I wait until my turn to figure out what to do, because when Kyle took his turn, he's changing things. When Taylor takes her turn, she's changing things. And then, so I have time, because I'm all by myself, I have time to be like, okay, what am I going to do? I want to do this and this and this, and then I can strategize. In our game, you cannot do that. You have to be ready for, when the flag goes up and it's your turn, you have to be ready to move, because, so your strategy has to evolve.
Yep.
But it has to evolve as the game is being played. You can't just wait till your turn and be like, oh, what am I going to do?
Because if you take your turn and go slowly on your turn, people are going to run away from you, or they're going to move into you, and you're forced to spend your turn reacting instead of enacting. And that, just a heads up, you don't want to be the reactor.
Right. So, you don't want to be the reactor.
For the people behind you if you take your turn long.
Yeah, you can.
Oh,
we talked about the dirty, underhanded behavior. You can kind of convince somebody low key to be like, bro, go slow.
Pause your turn a little.
Pause your turn a little bit. Yep, I'll pause my turn a little bit. We'll take our time, and then I've seen it happen. The dirty, underhanded shenanigans.
Okay, that was when we played with the guys who are going to be here on Wednesday to play. He was not doing it with that intention. He was just taking his time, and it ended up ruining Kyle's movement.
I had you. You were
had
so
me a
close
couple
to
of
dead.
times, too.
And I'm just like, come on, take your turn. Finish.
But then-
He's gonna die. And then you'd be like, I'm gonna heal him. No!
And that ended up changing the entire face of the game because that's how I ended up winning.
Yep.
Was because the person in front of me was going faster than the person in front of Kyle. So.
So it can happen like naturally, or I've seen again when I got to the chance to I've seen people do it intentionally. I watched the eye movement, the eye contact, and I was like, ooh, not good.
Good.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so Thursday tune in. We'll have a detailed
We'll go in depth on
of
turn
the
order.
game.
Yep.
And go to
Kickstarter.
our Kickstarter. Look up The Fall of Savarion or
Savarion.
or go to Savarion.com and click on the link directly from there.
Absolutely.
That it's actually easier to find that way because it's just Savarion.com.
Yep.
It should be
also
linked
post the link
in our.
in the description as well.
Heck yeah. The link will be in the description.
So-
And then you can also go and take your test, and you can find out which one of these races you fall under, so you can start preparing to play as that race.
If you want to do things that way.
That is a possibility.
So.
Because, Taylor's an elf, and she's been staring at the elves the whole time.
I have.
How much have we got to over there? The pink.
On these guys. Look at that. This was just some dwarven supremacy. Let's
Dwarven
go.
supremacy.
Yeah!
Listen, Ian.
And then we have
And
Corbin.
Corbin is a Minotaur.
Yep.
So.
And I believe Sarah got the Samgatu?
I don't know.
Did know. Dang it. I don't know what she got. I think she got Muscapert, actually.
It's
Well,
funny though because I built the test so that I would beat orcs because orcs are my favorite,
You
and I
got
still
some-
ended up with some Gatsu.
Yeah.
But I built the elves so that Melissa would be an elf, and
And the
got it.
goblins
I got
are
that one
supposed to
right.
be me.
The goblins were supposed to be you. I don't know.
Because that one's fun. When you
The
get
test
to
is
play-
intuitive
oh,
enough.
The test knows better. Because when I get the goblins have never been good to me. I've played them twice, and they have never done me well.
Which is funny because I've seen the goblins like
That's what I expect.
dominate the game.
And I think that's because the goblins dominated. I got focus, plus it's me. I magnetize
Maybe.
aggression.
Well, but the things that make the goblins so effective didn't happen to you.
Exactly. I was
Welcome to the
waiting
blizzard.
for the winter and the blizzard. That combination shuts everybody down except for the goblins. And then the goblins run around and go crazy. And instead, all I got was, hey, here's an earthquake and a clear sky. And then here's luminescence and then an earthquake. And by then, Corbin had wiped me out and I was dead. Yeah.
All right.
Fun.
Heck yeah. So
And then
definitely
the blizzard happened after you died.
Like,
Yes, it did.
like, share, follow,
subscribe, comment,
subscribe, comment. Go to Savarion.com.
take the test,
Take
and
the
then go
test.
to Kickstarter.
Go to Kickstarter.
Get the pledge. $120 get you the game ahead of everybody else. That's $90 for the game and then $40 for the shipping cost, right? No,
120 for the game.
$120 for the game. Sorry,
And
my
then
bad.
40 for the shipping.
All right, so yeah, do that,
But-
and we want to see this in your hands as soon as possible. So the Kickstarter is massively helpful for that.
Yes. So, alrighty.
Bye, guys.
All right.